Morning, all. Welcome back. Fun little topic for today. What car does your preacher drive? What kind of home does that individual live in? Do they wear gold? Do they live frugally? Or do they live posh, which is a fancy term for wealthy, I guess? So, I've always had this thought in my mind about religious figures. Should they live, you know, a humble lifestyle, just what they need: four walls and a roof, you know, cheap transportation if they need it, unless they're in walking distance of their, you know, uh, church, should they even have a car? I mean, considering, if you really look at the Catholic churches, um, those cats bring in some money. That's no secret. It's no conspiracy theory. It's the truth. You can tell. Those Catholics break in the dough. Probably give the Jewish folks some run for their money as far as no pun intended there, but they rake in the bucks. So my point is, do you follow and believe and listen to an individual that sees being a religious figure as a job and hence gets paid for it? Or do you follow an individual who lives a very simple lifestyle? You know, I've seen a lot of religious folks, pop up on videos and interviews over the years. And I myself am a believer in God, but I do not read the Bible. I do not go to church. There's no reason for a book to be as cryptic and as confusing as it is, because why would it be written that way? Why, considering all the amount of years that this book has been rewritten and retranslated over and over and over and over, why then uh, can it be translated and rewritten in more of a layman's terms? Well, then what would you need the pastor for, or the father for, or whatever they're called, that speak quotes from the Bible and decipher them for uh, the lower class, the working class, if you will, who are not educated enough to understand, the intricate workings of such a religious text. You gotta hire a an individual, an educated individual in the ways of God in order to teach you heathen scumbags, the rights and the wrongs. Personally, I don't really buy into a lot of it. I think a lot of it's bullshit, and I think a lot of it is designed solely to control and to influence people. If you don't believe the church influences politics, you go back to sleep. Night night. Go on. Because it does. It has a huge hand in it. And this, of course, goes way back in the Dark Ages and probably beyond, probably beforehand, when, most kingdoms would bear what? Religious symbol of their faith. Typically a crucifix of some sort. And they would tell their soldiers, we're going to win this war because we have God on our side. Well, what happens when they're fighting a kingdom who likewise has God on their side? Oh, well, blasphemers, lying heathens. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that brings me back to the modern day and modern point. And my point is, if you go to church, does your pastor wear rings, bracelet, or a gold watch, fancy suit? What car do they drive? What does their house look like? Do they have landscapers come to their house, or do they mow their own lawn? A lot can be figured about, a lot can be learned from a person on how they live. You don't even need to talk to them. You just walk by and you look at them and you see, okay, that's an expensive watch. That's expensive shoes. Oh, look at the car he's getting in. That's worth more to my house. Nice. So the point is, do you follow a man who gains nothing from speaking his beliefs, who wears the same clothes you're wearing, maybe even doesn't even have a vehicle? Do you listen to that person, or do you listen to the guy decked out to the nines? That's the point. I personally, I think if the church wants to get a lot more followers, I think they need to tone it back a little bit. I think they need to put up a rock star who's from the community in which they wish to reach. Say the working class, they need to get a working class individual up there, dressed in jeans and a t-shirt, maybe even Dirty Handsome, just getting done working. And he needs to speak clearly about things, rather than, oh, thou shalt not thiseth all day long. Look, it's 2023. It's time to stop that shit. You can speak normally now. You don't need to be so cryptic. But they choose to. And you wonder why? I'll tell you why. It's to keep you unknown, keep you guessing, keep you thinking you need that pastor to tell you what that book says. And yet they urge you to read it anyway. They also tell you don't listen to your feelings and don't follow your heart, because that's going to deceive you. Well, didn't God design us? Why would he design us with a faulty piece of equipment? Why would he design us with an organ in our body, a much needed organ, mind you, and have it be evil and deceitful? Did you know the heart actually has more neurological matter in it than the brain? But they tell you not to listen to it. Yeah, well, you guys, take it for what it is. This is just my little view on the subject. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. Everybody just is. I personally believe, do what you feel God has wired you to do. Don't be a douche. Be decent to people. Don't do the main bad things. You know what they are. Everyone's born knowing what not to do. If you end up doing those things, well, you're probably in for a bad experience. But that's just me. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. You guys have a great one, and I hope your weekend's going to be banging.